Hi, I'm Paul from Global Voice Network, and thank you for joining us. Welcome to this Herbal Health Review program from Discoveries in Health, or discussions from herbalhealthreview.com. And now, without further ado, let me turn it over to Dr. Truman Burst. Dr. Truman, good evening. Sorry about the late start. Hey, Truman, how you doing? We actually got started now. Sorry about the late start. Ay, ay, ay.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Okay, let's get on. We are actually live now, and let's get this show on the road.
Okay. All right. We have solved our issues with audio and so forth. Thank you for joining us here. Uh, this is Discoveries in Health. We're here every Thursday, live over many channels. Uh, and we're live on dial pad meeting natural remedies to prescribe or diagnose. We don't do that because we're talking about food, the natural history, the origin, historical uses of, or that is for your benefit. This is being, there's a video going to be available up on YouTube and other channels as well regarding this broadcast. Be sure and call me on the telephone if you have any questions or if you'd like any copies of any of the research reports that we're reporting on. My telephone number is 503 362 5899. My email address is Truman, Truman, at herbalhealthreview.com. That's the same as the website, herbalhealthreview.com, where all of my work is published. And and all of these, it looks like we've got an open, maybe it was Paul in the background because I don't see any other mics open. Anyway, what we're saying is that we're here to help people to understand how to use natural remedies and where to get them. Although I make nothing from the sale of in people, making sure that you know how to use natural remedies. Okay, that being said, let's start with an opening prayer. Psalm 3. And Psalm 3, it's a psalm of the Lord protects his people, and a psalm of David when he fled from Absalom to his son. And the Lord, how are they increased that trouble me? Many are they that rise up against me. Many there be which say of my soul, there is no help for him in God. Selah. But thou, O Lord, art a shield for me, my glory, and the lifter up of mine head. I cried unto the Lord with my voice, and he heard me out of his holy hill. Selah. I said, excuse me, I laid me down and slept. I awakened, for the Lord sustained me. I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people that have set themselves against me round about. Arise, O Lord, save me, O my God, for thou hast smitten all mine enemies on the cheekbone. Thou hast broken the teeth of the ungodly. Salvation belongeth unto the Lord. Thy blessing is upon thy people. In Jesus Christ's name, Yeshua, all praises to the Most High God. In Jesus Christ's name, I pray for all of us to be completely blessed, blessed completely, continuously, endlessly, limitlessly, and then spread to all your friends and loved ones all around you contagiously. I pray that you are receiving blessings completely, continuously, endlessly, limitlessly, and contagiously for the glory and for the victory of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. In Jesus Christ's name, all praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High God. So be it. That being said, if anyone has a question, comment, topic, or suggestion, let's get this herbal class started with answering questions. And we want to know what you want to learn. What do you want to learn about today? Do you want to learn about the nervous system, or do you want to learn about uh, something even more extraordinary that's kind of off track a bit? Let's let's look over to a report that I received today, and uh, and and it reads like this. It's all about the uh, report from the COP27. In, in order to navigate this conference, reports cellular phone task force assistant Kathleen Burke from Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt. One must have a cell phone out and on nearly on at all times. For the United Nations 27th Conference of the Parties on Climate Change, held this year at this resort city on the Red Sea. And and there were 4 fake palm trees that were erected on the grounds of the COP in order for the 40,000 conference attendees to all be all day long, every day, for 2 weeks. Each tree captured in the foreground of a video that I can send to you is simply a metal scaffolding for antennas. The safe and sound Pro 2 radio frequency meter, which Kathleen brought to the COP in order to measure radiation levels, reads extreme. Inside and out, she may be the only person at the conference who does not have a cell phone. purpose of Kathleen's participation as an observer at the COP is to begin to build bridges to the people who care most about the future of our world, who are not threat that is even more urgent than the one they came to Egypt to address, and yet it is intimately related to it. She is distributing a letter, which I can see that you get a copy of, a letter that she wrote and submitted to the COP 27, and before she arrived, and Kathleen delivered the letter by hand to all the offices of the parties of the countries represented at the conference, as well as the Environmental Defense Fund and the World Health Organization. And it goes like this: a blind spot must be filled. Outside of an atomic nucleus, there are only fundamental forces in nature: gravity and electricity. The electromagnetic force is uh, hundreds of trillions times stronger than the gravitational force. Yet, much of Western science pretends that it does not exist. This is now having terminal consequences for life on Earth. The consequences for life are being blamed on microorganisms. The consequences for environmental uh, the environment are being blamed on climate change. The conference is rightly concerned with halting the burning of fossil fuels. Unless this is stopped, Earth will become uninhabitable. But even if it is stopped, the Earth will not survive unless global electrosmog is also stopped. And a lot of people never heard of electrosmog. Electrosmog from the wireless cloud and from satellites. And electrosmog is even more of an emergency than climate change. We have only years to stop it, not decades. In addition, many of the strategies for reducing our dependence on fossil fuels, solar power, wind power, the smart grid, electric vehicles, smart highways, smart cities, and so forth are only making matters much worse. The methods used to gather information about, and I have a phone here, and I don't know why, but and if I answer it, I have to decline it. Apparently, you're not hearing me over there, and I don't know why you wouldn't be. I see that that well, over in dial pad, I'm getting somebody calling me. And I don't know why, because I am live and the meter says my audio is working. But what I'm saying here, okay, let's get back to where I was and what I was saying, because we were talking about we were talking about we have only years to stop it, this electrosmog. Uh, if not, decades. We don't have decades. So, in addition, we only have years to stop this electrosmog. In addition, many of the strategies for reducing our dependence on fossil fuels, solar power, and wind power, and smart grid and electric vehicles, and all of that, uh, uh, this, are only making matters worse. The methods used to gather information about altered animal habits, GPS, radio tracking devices, etc., are killing wildlife instead of saving them. The following are now this is an article I just received today, 11/17/2022. This is not old news. This is the latest information. You heard it first right here. The the following that I'm going to discuss here are a few facts that the United Nations most immediately must immediately recognize and take control of in order for our children to live, to grow up. Electricity and no other force is responsible for life. The study of electricity must be restored to biology, chemistry, and medicine because you don't see it there. They're not recognizing the fact that we are you can feel your body hum. That's an electric frequency that your body is charged with, and the clock is going to run out somewhere along the line. Electricity must be restored in biology, chemistry, and medicine. It's ignored. Electromagnetic fields, EMFs, interfere with the flow of electrons in our nerves, in our brains, and our hearts and pacemakers. This is this EMFs, electromagnetic fields, is responsible for the recent huge increases in the prevalence of neurological diseases such as ADHD, Alzheimer's disease, multiple sclerosis, and autism, and the large increase in the incidence of heart attacks in young people from EMFs, electromagnetic fields. EMFs interfere with the flow of electrons from the food we eat to the oxygen we breathe, which occurs day and night in the mitochondria of every cell in order to make the energy necessary for life. The interference with metabolism, interference with the burning of sugars, fats, and proteins for energy has put all living things into a state of oxygen deprivation. This is occurring in every person, every animal, every insect, every plant without ceasing and without possibility of escape. The reduced ability of our cells to digest sugars is called diabetes. The reduced ability for our cell to digest fats caused them to be deposited in our tissues, resulting in obesity. It causes them to be deposited in coronary arteries, resulting in heart disease. The reduced ability of our cells to utilize the oxygen we breathe causes them to revert to anaerobic, non oxygen using metabolism, resulting in cancer. The extraordinary increases in these four pandemic diseases, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and cancer, are predominantly caused by constant radiation from personal wireless devices. And I have an open mic. Go ahead. I, okay, someone said something briefly. So, what we're talking about is this obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and cancer are predominantly caused by constant radiation from personal wireless devices and the global infrastructure that supports them. In bees, which have a very high metabolism, this interferes, this interference is quickly lethal. Colony collapse disorder is caused almost entirely by electrosmog. The 75% decline in flying insects in nature reserves throughout Germany, and the 98% to 99% decline in the number of crawling insects in Puerto Rico, in the Puerto Rican rainforest, decreases that reflect that is globally being called insect apocalypse are predominantly caused by the enormous increase in the intensity of radiation from the global wireless infrastructure. The unprecedented mass deaths of nesting birds worldwide in the spring and summer of 2022 was due to the tremendous global intensification of wireless infrastructure now occurring on land, in space, and in the oceans. The emissions from the wireless devices are called radio frequency, RF, radiation, radio frequency radiation. In addition to the general interference with electron flow in our bodies that occurs from any source of EMFs, RF radiation carries complex information from one wireless device to another in the form of frequencies and pulsation patterns. It carries the same information to the cells of our bodies, interfering with the drowning out, interfering with and drowning out the communication between our cells and between our bodies and the earth. This interferes with reproduction growth, differentiation, maturation, healing, and normal functioning, and is responsible for the dramatic degradation of human health in the past 2.5 decades. The interference with internal communication does not depend on dose. Even at near zero power levels, RF radiation has been shown to alter brain waves and change the structure of DNA. Every wireless device and every antenna is responsible for electrosmog. None can never be used safely, not even theoretically. Not cell towers, not cell phones, not Wi Fi, not Bluetooth, and not any of the 25 different wireless devices owned by the average household today. Communication satellites now being launched every other day, up to 54 at a time, by governments and private corporations, are massively polluting and altering the electromagnetic environment of the earth itself. This is further degrading all life below because every living thing is part of the global electric circuit. which flows at all times between the sky and the earth. There are 15 billion cell phones on Earth today emitting RF radiation, along with more than 6 million cell towers. At least 5,000 satellites are emitting radiation globally from space, with at least 100,000 more being scheduled and planned. On behalf of the, go ahead. Did someone say something? I guess they didn't. Thank you. On behalf of the organization which Kathleen represents, the millions of people who support her work, and on behalf of humanity, all of life, and the earth, Kathleen is asking the parties in the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change to recognize electrosmog as the emergency that it is, a huge contributor to aspects of degradation of life that have heretofore been blamed only on climate change. They, this is the first time that somebody's sounding the alarm in a major way, that that some of us might hear it. Anyway, she further asked the United Nations to open an official discussion on this emergency threat to all nations. And she proposed the drawing up of a new treaty and the establishment of a convention of a convention, establishment of a convention on electrosmog. And the thousands of global experts with whom she communicates are available to assist in this effort in any way that is required. And Kathleen also gave a copy of that letter to Amy Goodman, who is the host of Democracy Now!, a news program that she founded 26 years ago and that airs over 1,400 public radio and television stations worldwide. Her broadcast from the COP27 have been amazing. On Tuesday, I heard her interview Vanessa Nakate, a climate justice activist from Uganda. And what Vanessa had to say about the climate emergency applies with equal force to EMFs. Tuesday was Vanessa's 26th birthday, and on her birth, and she called it her breath day, not birthday, but anyway, breath day as she spelled it to Amy. Anyway, Vanessa reported that the Horn of Africa is experiencing severe drought, while large parts of Nigeria and Pakistan are underwater from record floods. The world must stop talking about adaptation, she said, because adaptation is already impossible. You cannot adapt to extinction, she said. A just transition to renewable energy is essential, she said, as is the total cessation of investments in fossil fuels. She is appalled that the conference on climate change is being openly used as a marketing venue for the fossil fuel industry. More than 600 representatives of the fossil fuel industry are marketing their products in the pavilions at the COP. It kind of reminds me of the money changers in the temple. Her sentiments are equally applicable to EMFs, with radiation already so pervasive that the majority of people in some nations have diabetes or prediabetes. And 98% to 99% of insects have disappeared, even in the rainforests. Adaptation is impossible. Adaptation is, is in this case meaning safe use of wireless technology. The burning of fossil fuels must cease, and the use of cell phones must also cease. Those are the two things that must happen if we are to have a planet to live on in the near future. Yesterday, Wednesday, this report is as of today. So this is fresh off the press. Now they're talking about yesterday, Wednesday, 2022. Singh, an activist from New Delhi, India, who is uh, with the Climate Action Network. Like Vanessa, he is outraged that not only has there been no progress on climate change in 30 years, no progress in 30 years, but there is not even any mention of fossil fuels in the Paris Agreement that was adopted in 2015. And as of yesterday, Wednesday, there was no mention of fossil fuel in the draft report of the COP27 either. He too is scandalized by the 600 fossil fuel lobbyists that have turned up at the COP27 and turned it into an expo for their products. So he's urging the nations of the world to develop a fossil fuel non proliferation treaty, which Tuvalu and Vanuatu are calling for. They are two island nations whose very existence is threatened by rising sea levels. The parallels to EMF activation are striking. Just as 600 fossil fuel lobbyists are hawking their products at a conference on climate change, so must people that attend EMF conferences and protest and protests of 5G have cell phones in their hands while they're while they're showing up at these conferences and protests, and they got a cell phone in their hand. Just as there has been no progress on climate change for 30 years, so there has been no progress on radiation for 30 years. A fight for climate justice is a fight for human rights, uh, said Vanessa Nakati. Likewise, a fight for radiation free world is a fight for human rights. It is time to stop nations from being flooded and submerged. And it's time to stop millions of people from being tortured and made homeless, and children worldwide from growing up with brain damage. It is time to stop burning fossil fuels, and it's time to stop using cell phones. And if you'd like a copy of that letter, and this came from the office of Arthur Furstenberg, President, Cellular Phone Task Force. And Arthur Furstenberg is the author of The Invisible Rainbow, A History of Electricity and Life. He is the administrator, International Appeal to Stop 5G on Earth and in space. He's the caretaker of ECHO, ECHOE organization, End Cell Phones Here on Earth. And he's out of Santa Fe, New Mexico. If you'd like a copy of this report or any other information about it, let me know. I will be glad to see that you get a copy of this report. I'm going to get a drink of water and we shall continue. If anyone has a question, comment, or a suggestion.
Question.
Wow, go ahead.
Could you explain the fossil fuel?
Fossil fuels? Yeah, that's gasoline, gas and oil. These are fossil fuels. and uh, and these are polluting the environment, and everyone's practically everyone is aware of the damage the fossil fuels have caused in the environment. It's been very bad, so bad that they are aware of it. They're just not doing anything about it. And as a matter of fact, now with this cell phones and 5G and all this other stuff, they're ignoring that and burying any information that the public might get about it. They they definitely don't want anyone to hear what I just reported. The fossil fuels, very dangerous. What would you like to know about fossil fuels?
I heard that the fossil fuels are from the dinosaurs.
Fossil fuels, yeah, they are. The dinosaurs is oil and gas. That's what it turned. That's what they're using. And the fossil fuels have contaminated our environment so badly with so many cars and so much pollution and so forth that they are aware of it. That's why the big push for electric vehicles uh, and, uh, and so forth. But fossil fuels, yes, it's gas and oil. That's what they are, and they have polluted our environment for over 100 years now. Is
Yeah,
there
but
any other question or topic or suggestion?
but
I have a comment.
that's actually
Yes,
false
go ahead.
science. It's actually false science because it costs more to generate the electricity to charge an electric car than a car would burn to travel from point A to point B. The alternative, they have not come up with an alternative energy that is not more costly or more hazardous to the environment than fossil fuels are. Take the windmills, for example. They take 25 years to pay for them, but they're broken down within 15 years and are in need of either repair or replacement. And because you have a wind generator doesn't mean that you can take a power plant offline. The power plant still has to be spun up, ready to step in if the wind dies down. So the power plant is still using energy. The wind turbine is generating only a percentage of the energy requirements for the area, and it's knocking birds out of the sky while it's doing it. Solar panels, the return on investment is 20 years. They're replaced every 5. So, where is the extra money coming from? And solar panels are exactly the same as wind generators. The local power stations still have to be spun up, ready to step in. But the problem is the power stations are operating inefficiently because they're not actually generating power, they're just idling. How efficient is it for you to sit at a stoplight with your engine idling on your car? It's not. You're not going anywhere. You're still burning fuel, but you're not accomplishing anything. And that's the same thing that the power plants are doing. There have been alternative energy technologies that uh, ingenious backyard inventors have worked on, and those technologies have been bought up by the military, they've been bought up by big oil and big ag. If those people refuse to sell their technology to either the military, the government, or big oil, those people disappeared under very, 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 very questionable circumstances. There was a guy named Stanley Meyer. He lived in Indiana. He invented an intake system for a small engine that actually burned water. It generated hydrogen on the fly, and it ran the engine. He tried to sell that, tried to give to the Pentagon, and he was poisoned with radioactive water. He died 3 days after that meeting. He was trying to do something good for humanity by selling his technology or giving his technology that would allow him to drive a dune buggy from New York. Hang on a minute, Edward. He developed a technology that would enable him to drive a dune buggy from New York to Los Angeles on 3 liters of water as the only fuel. This guy died. And after he died, they descended on his garage workshop and they emptied it. The same thing they did with Nikola Tesla when Tesla died. Tesla is the father of alternating current. He is the reason we have electricity today. He died, and the government descended on his laboratory, his little 1 or 2 room hotel room, and they took all of his experiments, they took all of his papers, and they took all of his prototypes. And those have never been seen again. The problem is not big oil. The problem is not antiquated technology. The problem is the controllers, the financial interests that are behind hindering the advance of technology. We're still using power in exactly the same way we were 50 years ago. And there's no excuse for that. It's the almighty dollar. 5G, I'm not on board with it at all. But cell phones, I don't see a problem with cell phones as long as they use a frequency that is not and that's damaging, that's harmful. I don't see a problem with it. Limited power transmission, I don't see a problem with that. But frequencies that are specifically selected because they interfere with hemoglobin and the cell's ability to uptake oxygen, that's just evil. And that is what is behind the globalists that we're fighting right now. I'm all on board with the green agenda, but I'm telling you, we're not the cause of climate change, because if the earth wanted to get rid of us, shake us off like a bad case of fleas.
What about the fact that we're going into an ice age right now?
Yeah,
cycles all the time.
Well, the earth does go through cycles. It goes through cycles. And the reason that they call it climate change today is because global warming no longer fit. Because after 20 years of historical data, they discovered that the earth is actually cooling, not warming up. That's why they made it climate change instead of global warming. It's all the left agenda. It's all green garbage is what I call it. We have technologies that we could have free energy. We could have vehicles that went 200 miles on a gallon of gas. We've had that technology for 30 or 40 years. It was buried for the sake of the almighty dollar. So, get rid of money, we'll get rid of the problem.
Yeah, which is the big problem.
Well,
and with that being said, and I'm glad that the topic came up because it needed to get out there, okay? Because that affects people's health, and so even all the more so does everyone need to be doing what they can to stay alive under these conditions.
Exactly.
I got people calling me, telling me that they're living under these 5G towers, and it's killing them.
Oh, it will kill them. That is,
Yeah.
if you've got a 5G tower near you, you need to get a meter. If you're not protected from it, your life is going to go down the tubes. I've been on emergency calls where Patricia's, she owns a health food store, 80 something years old. And her husband just died within 1 month of advanced carcinomas. He had just died. They had just put up a 5G cell tower. She got material and made a hoodie cloak to protect her body. And she was dying when I was put on the phone call with her. I get phone calls from people to save their lives when they're dying. And I interjected and saved her life.
But we
And I was
we
fortunate
don't.
to have
But
been.
but still, we don't prescribe, diagnose, or this
I'm
program is
not
not
prescribing
intended.
anything. I just tell you what I do.
Okay, this program is not intended to treat, diagnose, prevent, or cure any disease and should not be considered medical advice. This is a herbal health program, and perhaps we should stick with that.
Well, I could tell you what happened. It was simple. She was dehydrating when I put her on the phone. I asked her how much water she had each day. She could barely talk. She answered the phone herself. A friend is the one that put me through, Donna in Canada. And I said to her, "You need an IV right away. You're actually dehydrating and dying." And she knew. She owns her own health food store. She said no. I told her get to a hospital right now. And she said no hospitals. And I said, Donna, what kind of woman is this? A couple of days later, so strong and she's dying. I said, okay, get a home hospital, get a home IV, have somebody come to the house and do an IV. And she'd done it before, having owned a and saved so many people. So she said not until Monday she finally uttered. And I thought about it and I said, okay, Edward, what do you do now? And I remembered something and I said, okay, draw a bath, get some Epsom salts and get it in that tub and get in that tub. She said, you want me to get in the tub? Yes. And get some of that hydrogen peroxide, 35%. Go have somebody find it in your health food store and dump it in that tub. I got a call back 2 days later, and I asked Donna, is she still alive? Did she live? And she said, not only did she live, when she got out of the tub, she was rejuvenated. I said, yeah, I had a hunch about that. When a person's dehydrating, you might want to hydrate them through their epidermis. If you can't get them to an IV or a hospital, and her life was saved. She did it herself. All I did was tell her what she knew. If she was conscious, she would have known what to do.
Mhm. Okay, what
There you
else can
go.
what else
So
can we
that
talk
being
about?
said, that being said, we're going to talk about natural remedies here. And does anybody have a particular topic in natural remedies? If you do, let's wave your hand at me. Let me know what it is so we can talk about your topic. Otherwise, we are going to uh, get a topic here and discuss it. Maybe something we haven't talked about. We've been talking about Alzheimer's disease and how important it is to help people with Alzheimer's disease. And William would like to speak. So William, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. On that topic, I would like to hear what your thoughts are on.
Castor oil has a lot of uses. Let's go here and talk about castor oil. All right, let's see what the
Doc,
latest
Doc, William, William,
about castor oil.
William, are you there?
Go ahead, William.
Yeah, thank you. I was just thinking, Paul and Doctor, people. I was just wondering, I've heard about the castor oil and that you can apply it in many different ways, and just what your thoughts are on that.
Okay. And
I know one thing you can use castor oil. You can ozonate, I'm sure.
well, let's wait a second here. Castor oil. Uh, looks like we have a running thing here. Uh, and I'm surprised that I got it this way, but that's interesting. Home. So I'm going to go a different route here. Um, okay,
Wow.
and let's go back one more, and let's go let's go look at I'm looking for some credible research that I can share with you, and this should do it r- right about here. Castor oil, since the beginning of time, folk healers and worldwide have used castor oil to treat a variety of health conditions, including hair and skin care. First of all, it is a vegetable oil with many health benefits, and it also has various therapeutic properties. Processing castor oil seeds extracts this pale yellow oil. The plant has a distinctive scent and flavor that's a bit like nuts and smoke and tree resin, depending on the type you buy. The castor oil is tasteless and castor oil is tasteless and odorless. Furthermore, it's extracted by pressing castor plant seeds. That is a triglyceride. It's a triglyceride oil, uh, and, and it is composed of fatty acids, 90% of which are racinoleic acid, especially relevant. And Dr. Mercola, health researcher, states that this acid, this racinoleic acid, is primary healing ingredient of our immune system. According to Dr. Axe, medical researcher and natural remedy expert, it needs even more critical use for supporting the immune system. He says that research shows, we've got an open mic somewhere. I guess that's Paul. Let's close Edward's mic, okay? How do we do that? Edward, could you close your mic?
Yeah, but I was
Thank you. All right. Now all the competitive sound went away. I wonder where. Well, let's back open again. But the music is Edward's turned his music off behind him. That's good. Okay, we're talking about according to Dr. Axe, medical researcher. He says that research shows this oil is capable of increasing white blood cells and the T11 cells within the lymphocytes system. These cells are produced and they help kill viruses, fungi, bacteria, and cancer cells. So now it's effective in preventing the growth of numerous species of viruses, bacteria, yeasts, and molds. It's successful as a tropical treatment for as a topical treatment. It's successful as a topical treatment for ringworm and keratosis and skin inflammation, abrasions, fungal infected fingers and toenails, acne and chronic pruritus which is chronic itching. The most efficient uses are castor oil packs or poultices, which increase topical absorption. And when used correctly, castor oil packs improve the function of the thymus gland and other immune system functions, according to David Williams, medical researcher. And castor oil is a purgative medicine. Secondly, uh, in the last century, castor oil was used extensively as a purgative and as a medicine for almost all ailments, ranging from colds, coughs, fevers, indigestion, tapeworms, roundworms, and because the idea was that disease started in the digestive system, and that after a thorough cleansing of the system, problems would disappear. Also, castor oil has been used widely for commercial and non-commercial purposes. It's flavored, excuse me, it's favored ingredient, often used in manufacturing cosmetic and beauty products. So, apart from cosmetics, castor oil is also used to make industrial fluids like lubricants, hydraulic brake fluids, paint coatings, inks, wax, and polishes. And cold resistant plastics and pharmaceutical products and perfumes and other things. Switching to all natural ingredients in health and beauty care. According to David Suzuki Foundation, the David Suzuki Foundation says that a science-based it's a which is it is a it's a science-based environmental organization. It's headquartered in Vancouver. And what they say is 1 in 8 of the 82,000 ingredients used in health and beauty care products are industrial chemicals. As a result, unless you want to absorb carcinogens, pesticides, reproductive toxins, and hormone disruptors daily, it's important to remember that natural is the key. And as you can imagine, industrial chemicals harm the environment and alter your health as well. Um, 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 and most noteworthy, these chemicals lead to autoimmune diseases caused by inflammation in the body. Nature provides us with, with many natural raw oils, since many kinds of butter are also beneficial to your skin and hair. You don't necessarily need to expose yourself to harmful toxic ingredients. In other words, use natural products. Don't use products that aren't natural. And cleansing, antifungal, and antibacterial skin benefits of castor oil, of castor seed oil. Antifungal, antibacterial skin benefits are well, because castor oil is antifungal and antibacterial and has antibacterial properties. It is useful for treating skin diseases and skin ulcers. Furthermore, it deeply cleanses skin, targets fungal skin conditions, and reduces the appearance of stretch marks. Also, castor oil. This medicinal oil helps fade scars It treats acne and it combats lines and wrinkles, helps get rid of those lines and wrinkles. In conclusion, castor seed oil. It has numerous health and immunity benefits, skin care, oil care, rheumatism, menstrual disorders, proper lactation, and birth control. So it's a cleanser. So to create your custom made skin cleanser, mix a small amount of castor seed oil with rosehip and emu oil. Add 2 to 3 drops of geranium essential oil, and you got it. In conclusion, this mixture is excellent for deeply cleansing your skin, and the astringent properties of ger- geranium oil minimize wrinkles and tighten facial skin. After 10 minutes, wash your face with a warm cloth to remove excess oil and dirt and other pore clogging material. Targeting fungal skin conditions because castor oil contains indicilic acid. It helps to combat ringworm and athlete's foot. In addition, uh, another good tip, a few drops of tea tree oil, which is useful for treating ringworm, as it is an antibacterial oil with many purposes. You may even ozonate your oil, which makes the oil even more powerful and medicinal. You want to reduce the appearance of stretch marks? Okay, because castor oil is high in ricinoleic acid, which is a fatty acid that helps target stretch marks. It lessens the appearance of stretch marks. You massage castor oil into the skin regularly, at least for 2 weeks or more, depending on the age of the marks. Also, watch scars fade. In addition, castor oil penetrates deep into the skin through the epidermal layer to heal scar tissue. This is due to its high fatty acid content. And it's used to treat acne. Acne can appear for a lot of reasons. Our sebaceous glands produce a natural oil called sebum, which helps the skin and to help to keep the skin nourished and moisturized. Hormonal fluctuations can also cause acne, as well as medication, poor hygiene, and stress and certain diets will cause acne. But commercial solutions for acne often have side effects, and sometimes they lead to more acne. And castor oil is an excellent alternative and natural treatment for acne. Uh, Castor seed oil combats lines and wrinkles because of the fatty acids in castor oil. They can deeply penetrate the skin and stimulate the production of collagen and elastin. The skin around the eyes is delicate and therefore more susceptible to damage. The first signs of this are dark bags under the eye and crow's feet. And apply, you can, oh, that's not going to work. I'm not taking calls right now. I'll call them back. Uh, we're talking about the skin around the eyes. It's delicate, and therefore it's more susceptible to damage. The first signs of this are dark bags under the eye and crow's feet. But if you apply castor oil to these areas to reduce wrinkles and cleanse the skin, then apply, a dab of castor oil to your eye area with a cotton pad. Okay, then health immunity, and anti-inflammatory benefits of castor oil. Castor oil can strengthen our immune system through its deep, penetrating anti-inflammatory properties found in its fatty acids. It's also an effective treatment for gout, arthritis, and rheumatism. You might be surprised to know that castor oil is used as a form of birth control. It helps with menstrual disorders and lactation. It also acts as a purgative and soothes bugs and bites. Rheumatism benefits of rheuma. Well, fatty acids in castor oil are excellent for treating arthritis, rheumatism, and gout. Also, it helps to balance scalp pH levels. In the pH balance, if the pH balance of the scalp is too alkaline or too acid, it can lead to bacterial or fungal infections. This means a very itchy scalp and dandruff. Ricinoleic acid found in castor oil can balance the pH of your scalp. It restores the natural oils and improves the health of the hair. This is one way to reduce the harm caused by harsh chemicals in hair products. Natural birth control, well, ricin, RICIN, is a toxic protein found in castor seed oil. When small dosages are administered, it may act as a germicidal substance that will cause natural birth control. Menstrual disorders, the ricinoleic is a fatty acid and a key ingredient in castor oil. It's an emmenagogue by nature, and it helps menstrual flow when there is pain and obstruction or delayed menstruation. Uh, it helps when also helps to relieve pain during menstruation. Lactation, also castor oil is a natural galactagogue. It stimulates secretion of milk and increases the quantity of milk, the milk that is produced. And due to the presence of fatty acids in the milk, and also due to and you want to know about low doses, because low doses you want to use low doses and avoid side effects on the infants. So if you have an infant, be very cautious about the dosage, okay, when there's lactation. But it will bring on extra secretion of milk, and it increases the quality of the milk. And and there are also herbs that will do that as well. You might want to look at the birth and the natural birth control report that has all that information in it. But castor oil is also a natural laxative because castor seed oil is most widely used as a laxative, a purgative, and it is very effective for treating extreme cases of constipation when bulk laxatives do not work. and it soothes bug bites and stings. And it soothes the itching and heals insect bites. It is anti-inflammatory and antibacterial. Just a small dab of castor oil can be effective on a bug bite or a bug sting. And uh, and when and you can apply it to the bites throughout the day for as long as you need. You can just keep applying it over and over again. We're talking about castor seed oil. And anyway, one of the favorite natural and toxin-free organic brands uh, of is for skin and beauty care. Uh, it gives you all kinds of different brands of castor oil that are available, and and empowering others via the anti-aging wellness platform and holistic health books. He's talking about that, uh, and so there it is. That's basically it. Except let's give you a very practical solution for fibroid tumors where you're using castor oil. So, to do that, let's show you a natural remedy. And that didn't work because I lost it actually. So, I'm going to go back off of that and I'm going to go in here and do that again because I reached for it and I lost it. So now we go. Health and herbs. I'm going over to herbalhealthreview.com website and get a drink of herbal tea here. And all right, we'll click on common conditions. And we're going down. So we're on herbalhealthreview.com. We've clicked on common conditions and we're going down to fibroid tumors. And look at fibroids. Here we are, fibroids, which is a tumor. It's a swelling of abnormal growth of tissues. That's a tumor. And let's go down in here and read more. Okay, we're loading this up. Now we're looking at the fact that a fibroid is a tumor. It's a swelling of abnormal growth of tissues having no useful function in the body. And tumors may either be benign or malignant. Benign tumors are isolated growths that can occur anywhere in the body. They generally do not spread to other parts of the body and usually do not return after being surgically removed, or if you know how to remove them with a natural remedy, which we're about to disclose. Although benign tumors are generally limited in growth, they usually should be removed because a small percentage of these benign tumors later become malignant. Fibroids are benign tumors that most often they occur in the uterus. Hundreds of thousands of hysterectomies are performed each year due to the presence of fibroid tumors in the uterus unnecessarily, because we're going to show you how to do it without surgery. Unlike benign tumors, malignant tumors are cancerous and must be treated as early as possible. They tend to spread to other parts of the body and are likely to recur even after surgical removal. I have people tell me that they had their fibroids removed and they came back. But when you use the system that we're going to use here, they don't come back. So here we go. uh, First thing you want to do is make sure you're on that make lifestyle changes diet. And you want about 65% alkaline foods in your diet and 35% acid. And there is a salve, and the salve, uh, and you use this salve and vegetable glycerin. You're mixing 2 teaspoons of the salve with 2 teaspoons of glycerin together in a cup or a small pan. Use more of this mixture if needed. Then you soak. Well, first you're going to make and create a suppository. So now you're going to create a suppository for internal use. You're going to go to the pharmacy and you're going to get some cotton pieces, and you're going to cut these cotton. You're going to cut these cotton pieces into 2 inches by 4 inches long. Okay, 2 inches wide, 4 inches long, and you're going to lay them one on top of the other until you have a small pile about 1 inch high of these 2 inches by 4 inches strips of cotton, 1 inch high. Tie a string around the middle, about 10 inches long. Leave it hanging down. And so it's loosely hanging down. And then you take your salve and your vegetable glycerin, would be salve number 6525, and vegetable glycerin number 8696. And you mix 2 teaspoons of this with 2 teaspoons of the glycerin together in a cup or small pan. And you use more of this mixture if needed. And you soak the cotton in this mixture thoroughly, and you insert it into the vagina up to the cervix, leaving the long end of the string hanging out. And you wear a cotton cloth or a sanitary napkin over the vaginal opening so the mixture will not leak on your bed clothing. You do this procedure 5 nights weekly before bed and remove it each morning by pulling slightly on the string. This will draw out the infection, any type of infection that may be going on in the vagina. This will draw out any infection, and it will help shrink fibroid tumors and ovarian cysts and any other growths that are in the uterus. But in this case, we're using vegetable glycerin, uh, and 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 these fibroid tumors are known to completely disappear in 1 month. And in one case, the fibroid tumor was so large it blocked the colon, and the person could not have a bowel movement, and it was gone in 30 days. Now, in the morning, after 5 days of doing this, 5 days weekly, every morning, in the morning, you douche with an infusion made from equal parts of golden seal and myrrh. You take 1 quart of pure water, or and you make this tea. You add 1 teaspoon of golden seal, 1 teaspoon of myrrh, and 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. This procedure is also good for chronic vaginitis and other vaginal and uterine infections. Then Externally, externally, you create a castor oil pack. So you take castor oil and you, in a pan, you soak a castor oil a pack that you can place over the area of the ovaries. So you wring it out. You soak the oil. You soak that cloth uh, in a in the castor oil. You wring it out enough to where it's still soggy a little bit, but not dripping, and lay it over the areas of the ovaries. And you do that 4 consecutive nights per week. Only four. You're going to do this. You're going to do the procedure 5 nights a week, but you're only going to do the castor oil pack 4 consecutive nights per week. And before applying the castor oil pack, you're going to rub poke root tincture over the ovary that is affected and painful. Then you put the you put the castor oil pack over the top after you've rubbed in poke root tincture. That's how it's done. That's it. That is how you get rid of chronic vaginitis and other vaginal and uterine infections, and how you remove tumors. It removes tumors and and any and cysts that are in the vagina. And go ahead. We have a comment on fibroid tumors. Go ahead, Edward.
Let's talk about how women get them. I ran across articles, fibroid chickens. I think if we want to solve this, the 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 challenge, people need to know that it, it's cloud.
From chickens. Is that what you said?
Yeah, they're all fibroids. They got tons, the way they grow them, they're all fibroids.
Mm-hmm.
And they're eating them. The article that had fibroid tumors. And when Diane had them for 2 years, I suggested she put the clay on topically, real thick. Finally, her daughter came over and she put it on. After she couldn't find them. Did she get rid of them all? No, I didn't know the rest of it. I didn't know there were more ways to do these things. I've been keeping at it. When you talked about the low oxygen level in the cells from all of the electric EMFs, etc., frequencies, yes, there's a serious challenge. And when Dr. Freebot did the studies for the government and he checked the ozone level, oxygen level, different cities, he found out that the oxygen levels in the cities has dropped from over 30% to down 6% and lower. In places like California, they have what they call an low, and you wonder why people are not able to fight off all of the barrage of chemicals that are coming at us. But I want to make another comment. coal plants. I just happen to know an organization that's 20, I would say 20 not only on water purification and have contracts with governments and needs to come out now more than ever, obviously, but they also allow the smokestacks on the coal plants and nothing comes but a breeze with their technology. And that's something governments are, since they have more than 16 kicking the tires. So there's hope for everything. We have a lot of hope. They told me as long as we're alive, hope is inside of us.
Comments on that, and that from use of castor oil for fibroid tumors and cysts and other uh, uh, infections and so forth that are going on in that area. So so that's just how diverse this information is. You're talking about you talk about one subject and it winds up with an herbal report because because everything goes back in a circle here and and one of the things that were would be helpful for people that are eating all these chickens and getting fibroids that they would uh, they would take a look at the Make Lifestyle Changes diet system because that is a complete diet system because it starts with your diet. It's what regularly uh, having your fast food and stressful lifestyle sooner or later, depending on just how long you can take it and how much, as you hear here on this podcast, there are so many things coming against. It's in the air, it's in the water, it's in the frequencies, it's in this and it's in that, and it's in everything. I mean, so you really have to pay attention changes, and that's why we have a make life things that you need to build up your immune system and regularly be nourishing your body with. It starts with those kinds of things to build up, gives you super energy and easy digest. It's a give you an easy to digest super energy system, and so you're looking. You got that power drink, and after the power drink, then it's giving whole food, plant based diet meal plans, which is the best diet system in the world. Is a whole plans recipes, so you're picking the meals you like. You're not picking the food you don't like. You're picking meal plans you like. You're picking recipes that you like, and then you're balancing it all using alkaline and 35% acid, and you've got a, a good diet. If there's cancer or if you've gone, well, then you're going to have you might want to go 75% because alkaline diet is a healthy diet. So somebody had a comment. Right, okay, it's all right. Uh, so so with with a healthy diet, lifestyle. Then don't move next to any 5G towers. Then look at your cell phone usage and is your cell phone, are you, a lot of people, their cell phone is right next to their head day and night, their head, emitting all these frequencies.
Meters,
Go ahead.
the smart meters, there were 14 of them on the wall downstairs. Benjamin had 4 smart meters. His mother ended up dying from them. He moved into that apartment, found out that the people that moved out from Florida went right to the cancer hospital. And the person downstairs, he felt the difference. He went back in there to that apartment and he got sick immediately again. Unfortunately, it was too much for his 93. We asked the landlord, we wanted them taken off, and they would only take off one, the electric company. The landlord wouldn't cooperate, even though he explained to him what it was doing to everybody. Basically, it's destroying people's health, and they really need to know things, educate people. I want to mention that if you're low on oxygen, which everybody is, which is what makes the mitochondria and helps it to produce energy, the magnesium with ozone bonded to it goes to trillions of cells in the body. In small amounts, it just goes into the digestive tract and helps the lungs immediately when they have a problem like pneumonia, when they have a problem like COPD. That oxygen will relieve that situation very quickly as soon as it gets into the blood. And it also doubles and triples the strength of all of your supplements and pharmaceuticals. It makes everything more bioavailable. So you have to watch pharmaceuticals and break them in half when you need to. Because when you don't need to be taking them, you shouldn't be taking too much blood pressure medication. It makes it go too low. And high blood pressure medication. Do not think that the cayenne, which normally keeps your blood pressure nice and low, I use it every day, goes well with any high blood pressure medications. They're very toxic, the high blood pressure medications, and they cause kidney toxin, inflammation of the kidneys, which causes the pressure to keep going up. It's a vicious cycle, and I'll throw it back to you.
And they don't know about vitamin D. Let's take a look at what it says about high blood pressure and vitamin D, because there's lots of help that you can get from various areas, because our people do perish for lack of knowledge. And sometimes that knowledge is, well, it's hidden from you. It's not the reason you couldn't find it is they don't want you to find it, because because they've got something going on. Usually a profit scheme that doesn't uh, that doesn't take in to account people's health. It just takes in account to the profit. That's the bottom line. So our people perish for lack of knowledge, and that knowledge is very often just flat out withheld. We're looking at common conditions, and we're looking at high blood pressure, because that came up. And let's look at the most overlooked natural remedy for high blood pressure. What is it? Let's take a look at what that is. Okay, go ahead. All right. So high blood pressure it's 1 in every 3 Americans have high blood pressure one time or another, and that's a lot of people. That's 1 in 3. 1 in 3. Uh, that's incredible. So let's look at. Well, let's get to it, and and as we go down into that, and we're talking about high blood pressure. Uh, the natural health experts have known for decades how powerful uh, this vitamin that I'm talking about, how powerful this vitamin is for battling high pressure. They've known for decades. But big pharmaceutical companies have, however, used endless resources and influences to bury any study that showed positive effects from this essential vitamin. Research recently published on the Online Science Journal, PLOS1, revealed, however, conclusive proof that high blood pressure is caused and cured by this one vitamin. Research on mice recently looked at the connection between high blood pressure and vitamin D. In a 2-part study, 4 groups of mice were given specific diets. In one part of the study, the mice were given vitamin D deficient and vitamin D sufficient diets. There was a if you were deficient, there was one diet. If you had a sufficient diet in vitamin D, there was a different diet. In the second part of the study, they were further divided into high fat and low fat diet. This resulted into 4 groups: the vitamin D deficient and the with high fat, and the vitamin D deficient with low fat, and the vitamin D sufficient with high fat, and vitamin D sufficient with low fat. The conclusion was mice that were given the vitamin D, and they were vitamin D deficient groups, both whether they were high fat or low fat, it didn't matter. They both, if they were get they were that they were in the deficient group. They were in the deficient group, and they were given high fat and low fat, uh, and they developed high blood. They developed high blood pressure because they didn't have vitamin D, and it helped to both. And it happened to both groups. And then the mice were not that they were not divided. The mice that were not in the D sufficient group. In other words, they had enough vitamin D. They did not become hypertensive. They did not get high blood pressure because they had enough vitamin D, and they didn't get high blood pressure. It didn't matter if they received a high fat or a low fat diet. They had enough vitamin D in their diet, and they did not get sick. What's more, when the hypertensive mice from the deficient group then finally were given sufficient levels of vitamin D, their blood pressure stabilized, and they no longer showed any signs of high blood pressure. Before the study, all researchers had to go on were correlated studies that have been criticized by pharmaceutical groups as not having irrefutable proof. That study ends the debate. If there's high blood pressure, you want to eat plenty of organic fruits and veggies, nuts and seeds. Do not eat genetically modified organisms, GMO. And you want to get grains out of your diet. Most of the grains in America uh, are worthless. There's nothing in them. You might as well eat sawdust and save your money, or eat the package they come in. You get more out of it. Vegetables. People eat more vegetables, raw and cooked. And fruits. Yes, you've got to get some fruit in your diet, and low fat, fat free, uh, uh, foods that are not going to get it. Best is uh, no dairy products except butter. That's it. Butter's good for you. All the rest of the dairy products uh, really aren't. So you want to find out about rehydrate you. It's got all the electrolytes in it. Coconut water is better than water. And hills and so coconut water is great. And you want to get hemp and flax and hazelnuts and maybe get a dairy free beverage, or would be best. Um, uh, and 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 of course, organic, range free. Or if you're going to eat red meat, it's got to be grass fed and pasture raised. Uh, you got to eat the real deal, not the cheapest you can get. And fish, and they definitely want, if you're going to eat poultry, you got to make sure that's not getting, not only is it full of fibroids, it's full of antibiotics. Most often, if you're buying the least expensive chicken and getting the best deal on chicken, it's garbage. Again, you should throw it away and not eat it. But the problem is, they can't. They go over there, look at the organic product, and say, "Wow, can't afford that. Not on the money that I'm taking home. Can't feed the family. Nothing in it." And they're getting sick, and that's what's going on. So you need you need uh, you need nuts and seeds and legumes and and you need the right kinds of fats and oils. One of the greatest oils that you can use is coconut oil. And olive, you want to heat an oil, get avocado oil. It will stand the heat. And everything should be organic. Then you're getting the real deal. Yeah, I mean, you're saving money by shopping, with a non-organic, but you're not getting any nutrition from it. It's fake food. It's kind of like a lot of things that are fake, and we got a lot of fake things going on. The safe sweetener you can get as a white single a white leaf extract, or you can get a green powder, and you can put it on your food, and it'll sweeten it. If you want to, if you want something that is sweet, that that is looks like sugar, tastes like sugar, and acts like sugar, uh, that's called xylitol. Xylitol made from birchwood. And you do not want your dog or your cat, you don't want your animals to get xylitol because it's poison to them. Xylitol is a poison to dogs. So you don't feed your dog. But for us, for humans, which is a sweetener made from birch and has has no sugar. If you hold it in your mouth, it remineralizes your teeth. So I added it to my, that's what is one of the ingredients, the three different replacement for a toothpaste. I created a tooth a tooth liquid that you can just put the liquid in your mouth and either brush your teeth with it, so it tastes sweet, and it's mineralized in your teeth. But anyway, find that
Xylitol
your teeth.
detoxifies the roots of your teeth. Imagine running that across that at 3 o'clock in the morning while I was researching. Xylitol detoxifies the roots of your teeth. You said remineralizes.
The
It
tooth.
also detoxifies. You leave it in your mouth.
Yes.
You swish it around a lot. You just keep it in your mouth.
Yes. So that's why xylitol is in Care Refresh Brush and Rinse. It's under the teeth report on herbalhealthreview.com. But there is such a thing as an incredible herbal liquid that is better for your teeth and your mouth and tastes like peppermint and tastes like cloves and tastes sweet. Tastes it's delicious. And if you swallowed it, it wouldn't hurt you. So that's xylitol. But these are the kind of things we need to get healthy. We got to get more salads and and find out about these bone broths, chicken broth, and beef broth. They are incredibly nutritious with chicken broth or bone broth, and you're going to get a lot more nutrition from all the amino acids. So there's just so many things that we need to share with you. Uh,
I have a suggestion.
yes,
You know how it would be helpful for diabetes if you were to eat raw Brussels sprouts, string beans, and cabbage. Those three, I was taught by Doc Mike years ago to make it in the form of, but I found out from Lionel Lewis what he put in his. I said, "Oh my God, it's all the things that I'm able to address his prostate cancer." And when he called me finally, I had never met him. He had already beaten it by 5 months, and he told me all what he wasn't doing, all of the things you suggested. He changed his diet completely, which is what people need to do in order to be healthy. You got to do something different than what made you unhealthy. So I take the Brussels sprouts, string beans, and cabbage, organic, and I throw them in the smoothie. You don't notice them. By the time you put that white powder extra, you don't know what's in it other than a guy in these water. You know how
Okay.
many people say, "Oh, I hate water." These people have mental arrangements. I think the first thing that you need to understand is that when you're hungry, you're actually thirsty. Every time we're hungry, if you stop and think a second, you're actually thirsty because your body's 74% water and your blood is like 94% water. As soon as you eat, think clear and make conscious decisions. It takes about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. If you just every time we feel this emptiness in our stomach, we reach for something to snack on or eat. That's a problem. That is a problem we want. And all those other drinks in the stores, they're acidic. And if you keep drinking acidic drinks, you're gonna be very sick. The water has to be good water. It has to, and your body has to raise the alkalinity and the oxygen levels. I'll throw it back. Now you know
Yeah.
I
Dr.
did
Truman,
magnesium ozone. I had a stroke. I could.
Yes, go ahead, Paul.
we passed the top of the hour. I think we're going to need to wrap up the show. So we need to do the closing prayer
You said you
and
started 15 minutes late.
yeah, but I'm struggling to keep the show
Right. It was just
online.
about finished. I was just about finished. It is 23 years later, and I've never had another stroke again. And everybody that ever had a stroke or a heart attack, if they do the right thing, they'll never have another one. They'll clean out their arteries and reoxygenate every cell in their body.
There you
That's a
go.
plus.
Yes. So making lifestyle changes, taking care of your body, listed, putting out some of these tips that are gonna help you because our people perish. Leave a blood pressure report here, but people reported to me. I had a lady contact me the other day and said, I used that blood pressure kit and I don't have high blood pressure anymore. So that's wonderful that people can use these natural remedies and foods, and that they're helping people. And not every, no, we're not promising cures here. But these are the things that may be helpful and that you can check out. Any of these reports, please let me know. 5899. My email address is Truman, Truman, Herbal Health Review.com. And then I'm going to open up the microphones over there and dial pad, and we will we will conclude with everyone being able to praise the most. Isaiah 19. 19:19. On that day shall there be an altar to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar at the border thereof to the Lord. And it shall be for a sign and for a witness unto the Lord of hosts in the land of Egypt. For they shall cry unto the Lord because of the oppressors, and he shall send them a Savior and a great one, and he shall deliver them. And the Lord shall be known to Egypt day, and shall do sacrifice and oblation. Yea, they shall vow a vow unto the Lord and perform it. And the Lord shall smite Egypt. He shall smite and heal it, and they shall return even to the Lord, and he shall be entreated of them, and shall heal them out of Egypt to Assyria, and the Assyrian shall come into Egypt, and the Egyptian into Assyria, and the Egyptians shall serve with the Assyrians. In that day shall Israel be the third with Egypt and the Assyria, even a blessing in the midst of the land, whom the Lord of hosts shall bless, saying, Blessed be Egypt, my people, Israel, mine inheritance. In Jesus Christ's name, all praises to the Most High God. In Jesus Christ's name, Yeshua, our Savior, praise, worship, and thank you, the Most High God. So be it. Together, all praises to the Most High, brothers and sisters. Let us praise the Most High together. All praises to the Most High God. Praise and worship and thank you, the Most High God.
Thank you for our knowledge and thank you for
All
our health.
praises to the Most High God.
Praises and more.
This program is presented for information purposes only. The statements made herein have not been evaluated by any agency and should not be considered professional, legal, or medical advice. Viewers are directed to consult their own professional sources before acting on any information presented here.